Hey, Tony, back at you here. Finishing up my little tribute to the Kinks here, the Davies brothers, the wonderful band that has such a bizarre, as we described when we talked about in the records, has such a bizarre up and down thing with America and Britain and popularity. Nevertheless, my singles come from the full period of time, or not really singles, I guess, but I wasn't able to. Normally I like to keep them to a round number 20, 23. This one's kind of in between. I ended up with 30. I just didn't feel like the 20 was enough, and 25 was kind of weird. So I just went ahead and added the other five that I had before. So you're going to see a lot of my stuff tends to gravitate towards my favorite periods. I guess my favorite periods were the early 70s, the late 60s of the Kinks, when everybody loved them. And, they had some subsequent and some interesting stuff after that. And so let's get to it, man. At number 30, I'm going to start off with the first of many songs you're going to hear from the greatest record that they had, and my number one record, of course, Village Green Society. Uh, I love Village Green Preservation. I think it's great, and I have Starstruck at number 30. Starstruck is kind of a nice ballad in that it kind of has a harder edge, and I like the way the strings slide into it about halfway through. So what I really like, I think, is not mentioned enough, is the orchestration of that was present on Village Green. And I think that's what makes a big difference in some of the songs. They do creep in with it. You can hear the orchestration follow, especially heavy in the probably the heaviest they got with it was during the period of time when they did the show period, when they did all this, the Preservation 1 and 2, and then the other concept albums during that period of time, which essentially followed up Arthur in that bunch. Number 29, I'm going to go with the Quirky See My Friends. To me, it's kind of an interesting, different type of a take on things. Right about the period that their music got interesting, and that's my number 29. See My Friends. I'm not sure if that's from a record or where that comes from. Number 28, of course. And it's kind of atypical, and I guess it's hard for a band to kind of play it with the orchestration. But I'm talking about Ray Sunny, a beautiful, tongue-in-cheek masterpiece, "Sunny Afternoon." Really, and that's the thing about a lot of these songs. They whether you agree with them or not is, and I'm not a British man. I love Premier League. I love. There's a lot of aspects I've come backward, towards England on as I've gotten older in my age. But I've always appreciated the music, and you'll never find. I don't think I'm going to ever rate in my program here anything by a band any more British, I believe, than the Kinks. These other bands maybe try to be and try to give that kind of a Oasis kinds of try to give that, and I guess they are from their time. But there's nobody quite like the Kinks who stumbled into it, not style council stuff, and a lot of that's just it's a natural evolution. People think about things more. A lot of things were a little more naive back in the day, for all the way around, from the record companies to the buying public to the artists to the engineers, everybody. So a lot of things happen. A lot of things happen by accident. A lot of things happen by natural things. That's what makes growing up in any time wonderful. My God, you hear people complain, "Oh, I wish I had this." I think everybody should be thankful they're up and running and breathing air and able to do what they want to do. Their art. And as long as I can do that, I'm happy. Which, by the way, I want to tell you, not to put a plug in the middle of this, and nothing to do with it. Kinks, but we're sending it off to be mastering. I got Greg Lucan's okayed the mastering arrangement yesterday, so I'm going to be sending stuff off to him and sending that off to get going. So we're going to soon give you guys little dabbles of this in the beds and stuff here as we get closer. Maybe a couple of things for the one or two of you who are interested in it. But this is a special project. It's about Kaiser, and it's funny I'm mentioning this because you've kind of got the home spun and the home tales and the home feel of the Kinks. Well, we hope to kind of have that. I guess that's kind of part of Welcome to Kaiser, what's come with that. Anyway, number 27, Everybody's a Star from Everybody's in Showbiz. Uh, Really great song. Hard to deny that. The concept. Some people find it loose. I think it's a little looser than some of the others. I like the record. I think the record's good. It's grown on me. It really has since it's been in, but that's my number 27. Number 26, let's get to the modern era. One of these modern Arista records had the first, I think it's the first one now, Catch Me Now I'm Falling, so that's why I put it here. Because it was one of the first where you've got kind of get that, where you kind of get that guitar thing, and I really leave that down. I don't know how much of that's Dave, how much of that's Ray, but that rhythm guitar thing they have, that Keith Richards kind of thing they all have that, where they can really bang out a good sounding rhythm with interesting overtones, not your normal, most of the time, not your normal chords. If so, just a couple of the strings, but key strict, take the top string off, or take the bottom string off, the high string off. But you have different sounds, and they come up with different sounds, and therefore you get different overtones. And so that's what makes that wonderful. And let's continue that on with number 25, which I think is one of the best songs that Ray wrote from the and people do not like word of mouth. I know they don't. I do like it. I like it better than other people like it. I think the batch of songs that were there were pretty actually good. And one of the ones I think is absolutely the best is the way he turns around Summer's Gone. It's just and the different context that he puts it in, and puts it in the context of having a daughter go away to school, and she's gone back, she's away, she's gone. It's kind of like the first test thing if she's leaving home. I think it's wonderful. I think it's powerful, and I think it's a great one of the good songs that was from that. Number 24 from Arthur, we're going to go with Power Man, or Lola versus Power Man. We're going to go with Power Man at 24. Always one of my favorites. Funny track. Just shows their breadth. I mean, this record, you start to see the branch out, not just limited to this song, but this record shows, I think, a different breadth of art and a different pace that they start to take. Once they've hit Village Green and they've gone on and had success with Lola, it starts to become, I don't know if you want to gear it towards FM rock. It ultimately crashes into the wall of the louder thing with all the Arista records. But there for a while with uh, these reprise records, to me, at least from what I could see growing up, there was health to it. There were nice tours, but after a while, it got a little bit repetition with Schoolboys, etc. But we'll talk about later. Number 23, the song covered by The Fall, not as well, but pretty damn good version of it. Victoria, for somebody who couldn't sing. Mark certainly can't sing like Mr. Davies can, but it's actually nice. For 22, let's go to Shangri-La. Always one of my favorites. Everybody thinks that's, some people don't like it. I understand, but it's always been one of my faves from that record. And I don't know. I just think it. I think it'd be a different catalog to me without that song. That song's a really important one, and then it takes an important. It rings the bell well there, as does 21. When I'm talking about 21, I'm talking about Down by the Riverside. The piano thing, which we rumored is Nicky Hopkins. Nobody has exactly the notes or everything, but it's pretty clear it's Nicky Hopkins to play most of the piano on Village Green. And he really carries that da-da-da-da-da-da with the flanging da-da-da-da-da. He has the vocals go off with that. Sitting on a da-da-da. It's either reminds you of being high or tripping or something floating away. Da, 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 da. And again, he revisited that theme later on in the Preservation Act, and I just think it's one of the best that they're at. And while we're at it, let's go ahead at number 20 and deal with the theme from Village Green Preservation Society. Out in the country. It's just it's unique. It has its own place. It's very British sounding and with the orchestration, it sounds very British. It sounds very pedestrian. It sounds like the streets of Britain. It sounds like a village. That's the thing about the record. The record comes at you in a very, hey, this is our land. Let me give you a little piece of that. And that's subconsciously when I'm thinking about it. I don't. Again, I'm not working my thing in that, but this thing that we've done too, we've got to pick that up. And this is one of the first. You imagine where you got to be able to have your art kind of on the edges, just as it sweeps up the street, just sweep up those little miracles there on the side. It's pretty neat that they figured these things out. Number 19. We're going to go with Arthur, of course. A staple, a concert staple for years, and really a signpost from the band there. At number 18, I'm going to go to another song from Word of Mouth. Sorry, but I'm talking about back where we started. Here we go round again. I just think the melodies on that don't get enough credit. Contrary to some of the other records where they've got, the melodies are always great. That's why even Come Dancing, things like that are brilliant. But when you get up to that turn, that phrase, he's just as a rock guy still. He still has it. Number 18, let's go to the early days with all day and all of the night, which was essentially You Really Got Me Part Two. We used to play this song a lot in the bands that we had. My friend Mitch used to love to sing this. God rest his soul. He died young. He was one of these reckless guys, rock and roll, who lived the lifestyle even in a small town, and unfortunately burned himself out. We never got to do more, but he was a good guy. But this is one of his favorites. I remember he wore that. I remember I bought him an extra copy of it because he wore the cat. What was this? What were those cheap ones that we got? We got it down at Woolworths. Woolworths had a great sale bin down there. Where I told everybody before, I got Funkadelic down there. I got Todd Rundgren down there. And Runt and Ballad there in cutouts when it in the early '70s, and there was a kind of Kinks. Anyway, one of those he had, and he just wore it out. So I ended up getting him another copy while we had it down there. For number 16, let's go back to Arthur again with a song that's one of my personal favorites. I know that other people aren't. Everybody's got their own favorites, of course, in this period. But Brainwashed. I love Brainwashed. Always have. Really, no. I think I've told people it's probably in my top 10, which just shows you how many great songs that the Kinks have. But for now, it comes in at number 16. Any other day, it could be top 10. I love the record. That's really probably the last record that I really loved every drop of. Arthur's probably the last one that every song. Muswell Hillbillies I loved a lot too. Those two are really the last one that every single song I liked. I like some of the Arista records and some of the things later, but that was really it. When we talk about it here, let's go down to 15. And number 15 is The Big Sky, which I think is a super underrated track. And I really look for somebody to do a great cover of this to come back one day. And it'd be a great concert thing. I know probably some bands, you guys can leave me in the comments. I'm sure I've seen some bands have done that before, but I think Big Sky has a great message to it. It's kind of like that Spark song is what is it this time? Kind of like God taking down from the big sky saying, this is important, this is not. Number 14 from Lola, The Money Go Round, the other part of the equation. Yeah, Lola versus money go round. I understand that, and Money Go Round's great. It's the whole record's got kind of a sense of humor to it that's wry and cutting and to the point, and I just love his lyrics, man, especially on this one. Really, really good. Number 13, we're going with the 20th Century Man. Another one of my faves from kind of the middle period, which is somewhat maligned, but there are good parts to it, and that always was and still remains to this day one of my favorites. And while we're at it, let's ring the bell for another brother in arms there from the period of time. Talking about Celluloid Heroes. Just that one. This one was a special one. Kind of every once in a while Ray gets in a slot, in a lyrical slot where nothing can touch him. And I don't know what it is that gets him there. But he was in there for most of Village Green. He was in there certainly for Waterloo Sunset. Great. And a lot of these other ones that we have from here. But it's just amazing how his cut above is so much above. And for years, you could make $1 million if you could explain what the difference between what this has that this doesn't have. And I think there's a certain you want to talk about consciousness of levels, there's kind of a looking at it from a higher level. There's more almost a Zen thing to some of the lyrics and some of the approach to some of the songs. I mean, some stuff he's done is pretty mean and spirited and funny. Even Big Sky is kind of like, got a little bit of that in it. But Celluloid Heroes, my God, what a great one. Number 11, and one of the early ones too. So tired, tired of waiting for you. What a the placidity of that song, the restraint of that song, the production of that song. It's your life, and you can. The way that the space is they just let it be. They don't clutter it up. If you and I were to record this today, you think we could leave it like that? We couldn't. And you should. You need to. Everybody needs to step back sometimes and, don't be in such a race to get so much out at one time. Just the space, what you don't play. Like they said, like many of the times people have said, it's not what he plays, it's what he doesn't play. Well, that song, man, the breaths, the breathing and the spacing in that song was just, to me, almost put you to sleep. It's almost enough to just coax me into a lull me to bed thing. I mean, it's just very, very, very powerful. Number 10, I'm going to go with the guitar rave up, House in the Country, which I've always loved. I've always loved this period of time. Right, that's again, we're Village Green. We're right before this stuff in the late '60s, mid '60s. But House in the Country, what a guitar thing, and what a decent description of the so-called producer, that somebody lives in the country and has it all going for him. Number 9, a song very close to that in my heart too, probably one of my favorites, David Watts. I love it. Everybody loves David Watts. All the mods just completely Paul Weller and that crew. David Watts is like, I guess would be the number one with a bullet forever. I love it too. It is fantastic. And while we're at characters, man, let's go to number 8, where you've got a guy who died and became a legend for the New York Dolls, naming himself after this character, and I'm talking about Johnny Thunder. At number 8 from the Village Green Preservation Society. There's nothing like this song. I've always liked this song. It's just something about the way it holds itself back. You just feel like there's this rage just being held back. Johnny Thunder. It just feels like you just feel like it's ready to burst. The way it's dun, 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 dun. There's so much energy, and then the ba 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 da 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 da. It's fantastic. Number 7 from the same record, and I admit I am I'm very affected by the fact that my children and I played some songs on this record when we played down at, my kids were young. We played this at the theater. My kid played, Blake played piano and Joe played bass, and I had my friend Bart play drums, and we played the suite of songs from Village Green. It was, somebody's got a recording of it somewhere. I don't have it. I should have, put up things that recorded. It was just enough to try to make sure it was right. But yeah, man, I'm talking about Picture Book, man. We loved the Picture Book was one of the ones that we did, and just one of the great records of that. It might not be technically anybody's favorite. It's one of our favorite ones because we used to play it together and sing it all the time. Number 6, Ape Man. I'm talking about the tongue-in-cheek laugh, comedic, great. I think it was a single too, from the Kinks shortly thereafter. Lola and that whole bit about that time, 1970. I don't remember exactly where it came with, but we know about it on the record. But yeah, of course, it's a classic and carries a very important message, and not to be misconstrued with any other points. And I've seen some threads talk about. It's crazy. Number 5, talking about the West Virginia citation that Jay Stickley, my friend, talked about, and that's from Muswell Hillbillies. Title track from that song. I love that record. The whole record front to back. That's one of the ones, probably one of the last ones that I can just listen to. As I said before, that'd probably be one of the last ones that I can just sit and play front to back and love every single song. Arthur, of course, Lola too. Going all the way back, if you take it back to where until it fragments into those early records, but all the records, are front to backers. There really aren't any bad tracks on them until, not until, but you get to the point where some of the ones later with the themes and such got to be overloaded. And I think the preservation stuff started that with me. And anyway, number four, I'm talking about only available, I believe, on the early version of um, Village Green in the Netherlands and such. And I have a bootleg of it somewhere, Joe. It's a shame I didn't bring it here to show it. Maybe we can show. You can flip up one of these during this, maybe not, but I have it anyway. I'm talking about Days. Beautiful song. And have you ever heard Flo and Eddie's version of that? Everybody thinks Flo and Eddie this, but Flo and Eddie had a lot of good, a lot of good ideas. And did you know? Did you not? That one of the uh, big records Turtles put out back in the days was produced by Ray Davies. They specifically requested him, when they were on top of the singles charts and they were there. I think it's was Turtle Soup, one of the ones, one of the early ones. Sorry, I don't remember which one it is. If I had it in front of me and brushed up on it, I would know. We need to do a Turtles one too, so I need to put that on the list. But anyway, that's my number four. Days, just spectacular statement of life and the changing, shifting sands underneath people's feet with psychedelics and where you were in the world. And what the world was on the verge of. Just a time when everything was out. All arrows were pointing out. Number three. Oh, Village Green again, man. Sorry, Walter. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That bass line and that song. There's nothing like that, man. Walter. Uh, and about anybody's reached the age where they're going back to their reunions and they've worked for a little bit in their time and they realize that, there's a certain part of that song that is really not spoken in the words. It has to do with the understanding of time. When you get older, everybody talks about what wisdom is when you get older. I'm 60, I'm going to be 65 this year. I understand that. But I'm talking about wisdom about the whole nature and the futility. Everybody's really caught up in things, and how important things are in the moment. And the truth of it is that they're not. Life's mostly made up of a series of pretty inconsequential moments. And it's the organization of those things and the way you deal with those things, which lets you either get something done or let you not get something done. And at least that's the way I found it. You guys probably know a lot more than me, so leave me a comment with that. Certainly not anybody to say, hey, I got my stuff together. This is what you should do. No way. Number two, let's stay with Village Green. And I told you I was affected again by my kids, but this was always the highlight of it. People take pictures of each other. The last song, the kind of reggae song, people take pictures of each other. And we played it in a really ska version of it. It was great, man. It was the best song. La 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 la. Part play with that was great. It came off really good too. But anyway, I love that song, and I just think it shows love. It's a show. It's basically a song that basically people take pictures of each other because they love each other. People love people, and it's an innocent thing, and it's a lovely thing, and it's a beautiful thing, and it's what keeps us together, man. People take pictures of each other because they love each other, because they want to make connection, because they want to be with each other, and that's not something you figure you'd get from Ray Davies with his tough exterior, especially the brawling with his brother, mid-70s stadium, U.S. person, but underneath it all, it's sad. And while I'm at it, let's talk about one of the songs that they closed the Olympic Games with in England. I'm talking about him, Ray Davies. I'll never forget it, standing on the bridge and say, "Na na na, beautiful na, na." Just standing. I'm talking about Waterloo Sunset, man. One of the great singles of all time. Though I won't be afraid. Oh, it's just gorgeous. Da na na na. It's just kind of a tribute to what is and what will be. And there's no sense in that can wistfully look back at what you have And you can wistfully look back that you took it on and you gave it the fight, or you just kind of went through the motions. What's it going to be? And that's kind of what I get from Ray Davies. Ray Davies is somebody who communicates, the working man's deal. I think I told you about it in the Who the other day in the song "The Dirty Jobs." Kills me, man. But that's the working man's thing, and that's what I think the Kinks had without even trying. And to me, he's a king, man. Ray Davies is a king. I like some of his later stuff too that he's done since he got shot down in New Orleans and all that, the whole gang with that. But check out his stuff and check out this band stuff. I'm sure everybody's got your list. Please share your list with me. Do me a favor, please hit the like button. Let's try to get some likes going on this time. Hit the like button. Move it up this time. We got the record coming out soon. We'd like to have a few more subscribers here before we do. Coming out shortly. As I say, it's being mastered. We'll be keeping you up to date with that. Thank you guys so much for always tuning in with us, leaving your comments, leaving your lists. We always appreciate you being here, and you're one of us down here in West Virginia. We'll always have a seat here open for you to come and share your thoughts on this and other things. I'll be back at you again shortly with something new. Talk to you later, man. See ya.